All right, this one is gonna be a bit of a fun one. We're gonna look at the most expensive streets here in the city of Waterloo. What I really like about Waterloo is a lot of these that we're gonna be looking at today are completely hidden, surrounded by trees or areas that, frankly, locals have no idea that these even exist. And you're gonna wanna stick around to the last area because, quite frankly, it's something that I didn't even know existed until I was about 14, 15 years old. For each of these neighborhoods today, we're gonna look at what's been selling within that neighborhood, as well as some great alternatives that have sold recently around the average detached price here in the city of Waterloo. At the recording of this video, that's $1 million. So let's get right into it here. We're gonna go to, I think, the second most exclusive, second most expensive area here within the city, and that's gonna be what's known as Kiwanis Park. Kiwanis Park here consists of a few different streets in particular, which is Cedar Cliff Drive, Kiwanis Park Drive, River Oak Drive, and River Oak Place. These houses here range anywhere from around $2.5 million all the way up to over $5 million. You are close to Kiwanis Park. They have volleyball courts there, as well as the outdoor pool, which is almost as if it's a small beach, dare I say, as well as you pretty much have a view of water wherever you are within this 3 streets here. If you're on the northern side of River Oak Place, you're overlooking the Grand River. If you're on River Oak Drive or Kiwanis Park Drive, you're overlooking this small body of water, which is basically within your backyard. Very similar to a lot of popular spots, especially within Calgary. They build this way quite a bit in popular areas like Mahogany there, where they do have these artificial lakes that are built. Now let's look at the one that sold over $5 million. This one right here had nearly 10,000 square feet above grade, 6 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, parking for 7 cars in the garage. Absolutely stunning home overlooking, again, that body of water in behind. Nearly an acre of land and very English style. A lot of stone was used, absolutely custom throughout. Now let's say you don't have $5 million. Well, let's see if I can save you 80% or $4 million. We'll go over to this one that recently sold back in June for just under $1 million. This one had 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 38 feet by 98 feet deep, and nearly 2,400 square feet above grade with a double car garage. So this is a great alternative, and you're gonna be saving $4 million. Now let's look at the next one here. We're gonna go up northwest towards Conestoga Mall. We're gonna be in the neighborhood of Colonial Acres. Colonial Acres on the whole, an absolutely fantastic neighborhood. A lot of greenery and a lot of space between the houses, but there's a few in particular that I'd like to highlight. We'll switch over to the green map here, and these roads here are really what gives Colonial Acres its name. It's these homes here which have substantial amount of land, anywhere between a quarter acre to an acre of land, and that's going to consist of these roads: Manorwood Court, Eastgate Walk, Grant Crescent, Old Stone Road, Colonial Drive, Lee Ave, and Oxbow Road. And as you can see from the map here, it's a ton of greenery. And these homes range anywhere, I would say, between $1.5 to $3 million. My favorite out of the whole area, it would probably be Manorwood Court, as it is much more neighborhood-like, a little bit more manicured because they do have sidewalks there as well. On the eastern side, which would be east of kind of this line where I have my cursor here on the screen, that's going to feel more like you're out in the country. Beautiful again, but there's no sidewalks in this area, and absolutely stunning. I mean, nobody really cuts their grass here. They do have landscapers to do that for the most part that I see. Now let's look at one that recently sold about a year ago. I know not that recent, but again, with the home prices here in the Waterloo area, prices really haven't changed year over year. We're relatively flat. So this one sold last year back in November for just over $2.6 million. And this one was a custom built home. They must have either torn down the house or there was no existing house here before. This one had 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, nearly 4,100 square feet above grade, and it was 160 feet wide by 160 feet deep. So just over a quarter acre of land. So yeah, if you are looking for something close to the city center, close to Conestoga Mall, and you are within this budget, Colonial Acres is an absolute gem. And a lot of people still don't even know that this area exists. Now, of course, a lot of us don't have that much money to spend on a home, which is perfectly fine. Let's look at something that sold within the neighborhood just around the corner from here. This one sold back in October of 2023 for just under $1 million. This one had nearly 2,200 square feet above grade, 55-foot frontage at the front by 160 feet deep, had 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a double car garage built in the 1980s. Another great alternative. Also, I'd like to highlight there's different time eras of building. The first one we looked at, very new in terms of when they were built, maybe 10 years ago. The Colonial Acres, yes, there are brand new homes, but those are few and far between. The other ones built primarily in the 70s and 80s. And the next one we're going to look at a little bit older than that. We're looking at 60s and 70s for the most part. We're going to head over back to the map here. We're going to go to Maple Hills. So if we zoom out here, we're going to go west past uptown Waterloo towards the city of Kitchener. And along the border here, we have what's known as Maple Hills, which is bordered by Erb Street West, Fisher-Hallman Road, and University Ave West. On the whole, this neighborhood is absolutely fantastic. Again, lots of trees. Like the theme of this video, it's hidden. And what do I mean by that? There's a few streets in particular I'd like to highlight, which is Warrington Drive, Roosevelt Ave, Arden Place, Cambria Place, Redwood Place. And these houses right here, again, very similar to Colonial Acres. You're gonna have a lot more land, a lot more space in between homes. But these ones I find even more unique than the ones in Colonial Acres. These ones are gonna be built in the 1960s, just like this one, which recently sold for around $2.5 million. This one sold 4 days ago. It had around 3,100 square feet in total. But what you're buying here is a very unique property, something you're not going to find in newer homes, in newer subdivisions. This one had 167-foot frontage and had just under half an acre of land. But what I really like about this one in particular is the architectural design, and you're not going to find this anywhere else. This is very Frank Lloyd Wright, how I would describe it. If you aren't well versed in the architecture space, he was a very famous architect, predominantly known for his work in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, like this house, which was built in 66. It really has a lot of influences of Japanese architecture, as you can see from the pictures of the backyard, as well as the general house with the use of wood, with the use of concrete, and with the use of stone. And it really blends in and takes the best aspects of the lot, the best aspects of the greenery within the area, and blends the two. And this is absolutely stunning. A bit of a modern take. I would call this kind of almost a mid-century modern / Frank Lloyd Wright. And that's really what you're paying for in this situation. Is it's a unique property that you'll probably never see. But let's say you don't have the $2.5 million to spend on something like that. We'll look at something that's sold between 1.5 and 1.1 million. This one over here sold back in April. It had 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, double car garage. It was 50 by 100 feet deep with almost 2,200 square feet above grade and fairly decent inside. A concrete driveway, so definitely a great alternative. And this was only a short walking distance from the last one that sold. I get tons of people reaching out to me all the time from YouTube looking to buy a home here in the Waterloo region. If that's you, you can certainly book a call with me in the first link in the description, or call, text, or email. Now, I know I'm gonna have a lot of people in the comments saying, hey Kevin, you missed this neighborhood. Hey Kevin, you missed this street. What about this area? And Waterloo on the whole is an absolutely gorgeous city. There's a ton of great neighborhoods, a ton of great streets. So let's give some honorable mentions. We're gonna go west here to the northwestern corner. We're gonna go to Regal Place, which is this street right here. And you're gonna find homes anywhere between $2 and $3 million. It's just that particular road. And then of course, if we go back towards Maple Hills, we're looking at Westmount. Now Westmount, I've already highlighted in another video with the most expensive streets here in the city of Kitchener. You can watch that one right now. And I find that the ones on the southern bound, as you can see from the map here, tend to be slightly nicer than the ones in Waterloo. Now, drum roll, please. The most expensive, the most exclusive area here within the city of Waterloo is going to be Country Squire. And it's one that, again, I didn't even know existed until I was about 15 years old. I had a friend that lived in this area or was house sitting at one point, and this is Country Squire. And the nice thing about Country Squire is you're within the city. You're a 10-minute drive to Uptown Waterloo. You're 8 minutes to the expressway. You're close to Rim Park. You're close to Great Silo Golf Course. You're surrounded by the Grand River. You're surrounded by green space. You have 1 to 2 to 3 acres of land within this area. There's no sidewalks whatsoever. You can't even park on any of these streets. Very exclusive and minimal to no traffic within this area. And a lot of houses in this area, you're going to range from probably 1.8 on the low end up to, $5-6 million if they ever went up for sale. But let's take a look at one fantastic example that recently sold back in April. This one right here sold for over $4.6 million. This one had nearly 5,700 square feet above grade, nearly new, built in 2021. It had 5 spaces in the garage, 3 with the main building, and then you had a double car garage in the backyard, a half basketball court area, a swimming pool. No expense is spared on this one in particular, and the lot itself is fantastic. We're talking 215 feet wide by nearly 300 feet deep. Again, a one-of-a-kind house, and this one probably is not even the most expensive one within the area if one was to ever come up for sale. I mean, the one next door is being constructed right now. They're just finishing up, and I think that one's even larger than this one. And this one is certainly not a small home.